So I was like, dang, who can I hit up? You know, I was trying to think of some people in Houston and Texas, you know, because down there. And at the time, my crewmates were not able to fly out there, you know, to do it. So I hit up.
So now, you know, we're going into this Olympic era. We actually have, well, by the time this comes out, it would have been out because it starts on Monday. We're doing a series called Black Culture as Sport, where we're talking about, you know, we're asking questions because, you know, a lot of people are talking about it, but, you know, I don't think they're really taking a journalistic approach. They're just like, oh, who's going to be on it? Who's going to win? And like, we're looking at, you know, is it black culture? What does that mean if it becomes a sport? What are going to be the protections, so on and so forth? We're not really talking about wins and losses and who's going to be on the team. But with, you know, with a monster, with we'll just call them those other guys that also have a team, that means that people are going to be striving to reach these heights, right? You know, there's some B-girl that's looking at Macca right now is like, I want to be on the team too. Mm-hmm. So if these young B-boys and B-girls are pursuing, you know, these positions, then it's in their best interest to know what it means to be in these positions that you guys are currently in. So what is like what is the compensation for being on the monster team? Like, do you guys, you know, are they just like, here goes $1 million, you know, are they, you know, do they cover your expenses to events? Like, can you make a living doing this? How does that work?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to get in details in terms of how much people make, but yeah, I mean, I absolutely believe we're still in a stage probably where, you know, many of these companies, and I think the good thing about the Olympics is we'll further advance in a stage where we can set more of what we want, you know, when we have those eyes, you know, on us. So, but I think, so like for me and my generation, probably it's still more so what they will offer us, you know? So,
right.
So that's been my experience, but in the end, it's always you decide if you want to accept it or not, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, with my experience, and again, I can't get into detail, but I get compensated, you know, monetarily. I'm able to travel with the sponsorship of Monster, you know, so
Nice.
to be able to go to different events where I haven't had to pay for myself, you know, so they compensate us besides, you know, besides a monthly monetary allowance that is said, but they also sponsor us to be able to go to different events that we are wanting to go to, you know, so
nice.
And then, you know, other things that come with that as well. So, but again, I think we'll be able to move into that space, you know, of once we're being really looked at as athletes, right? Where we are able to speak more on what we want per se, you know, and be able to demand that. But you know, with this thing, I think it's very crucial to understand that it takes time in showing these companies, you know, what your worth is, you know.
No doubt.
Why you deserve to get paid this amount, or why, you know, like it's, but that's what anything, period, you know. So it's that's just the name of the game when you're dealing with companies like that, you know. And that's just not as being a B girl or B boy. That's, you know, whatever. If I'm a skater, if I'm a this, if I'm a that, you know. So in certain sports per se, you know, since we're moving into that sport space, you know, have a longer track record than we do, you know. So but again, I do think this will open it up for way more sponsorships and such. And what I'm really excited about is like looking at, studies on physical therapy and all that stuff that comes with it, for our well-being, so yeah, that's really what I'm looking at, but and again, I say, as more B girls come onto Monster Energy or whatever, sponsorship there is, you're going to be able to get into that space more with each generation, making that sacrifice and making it possible for us to, demand more of what we want, so, yeah.
No doubt. And like, okay, so with jams kind of going to the like face-to-face jams on a huge decline and like just not even what they were, has Monster been able to, adjust to the new times as far as, allowing you guys to be expressive of your art and, be participants in, we'll call it the sport?
There's not, we've, one thing for me, with my experience with Monster, I've always been able to do whatever I want, so I had never had to censor myself. I never had to, try to figure out how to move specifically in terms of what I want to do. I've always had that freedom, to do what I want to do. In terms of like these times, they're new times, they're new and different times, and we're trying to figure out what is the best way to go about adjusting to this time, of course, so but even before the pandemic, things were changing with specific events and how Monster's involvement was with specific events and such. So so I think so I definitely think we're still in a stage of figuring things out. But like, for example, with Break Free, so there has been a lot of support that was put into Break Free and Break Free's competitions that they were doing online, Right. So that's another way of the adaptation that happened, with Monster and online competitions and such, so. Okay. And still the fact, still that we're still, that we still have our sponsorships as well during these times, where there's really, not much to do per se, right. With traveling, with, all of that. So, but so I think one of the major adjustments was like really putting the focus on the Break Free championships that were happening, Break Free the Break Free awards that are happening soon, like just different ideas like that, so those have been really like the adaptations.
No doubt. And like one more thing about the concept of the Monster team. So every b-boy on the Monster team, from my knowledge, was also at one point in time, if not still, part of a crew consisting of people that they actually came up with. So what would you say is the major difference between breaking with the people that you came up with versus breaking with the people on a sponsored team?
To be honest, for me, it honestly feels like breaking with a crew that I came up with, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the tightness is really special. Like and from what I experienced, is really special and really tight, I even heard it was even tighter before, but because it was a bunch of boys in there. I come and I, clean up shop, but but yeah, like it's just it honestly feels really, really close to me. I mean, it's the difference may be that like we're not all in one city, you know, so we're not around each other like all the time, you know, so we're around each other when we either have to compete, you know, or you know, train with each other like for a competition or so, you know, but on a regular basis, yeah, we're not really around each other, you know. So but that's the biggest difference, I would say, you know, compared to a crew that's I mean, you know, crew can have members that are all over the world, you know, that's clear, but generally if you have a crew that's like in the same city with you know, and you're around each other all the time, this is a team with worldwide members, you know, but we adjust, you know, by having, you know, like, you know, group messaging and all that stuff, you know, like the interwebs help with that, you know, so
No doubt.
but for me it's one of the, I feel like tightest and healthiest teams I've been and crews I've been in. I feel like it's a crew, honestly, you know. So
No different from a crew that you came up with in Philly, right?
no, well, you know, I would say it's
Minus accents.
nice accents, you know. But you know, I would say okay, maybe another thing that is different is that because it's also very business minded, you know. So you have almost everybody on a team, not almost everybody, but everybody on a team that understands this is also business as well. So let's push that, you know, let's represent ourselves that way. Let's, you know, like, so you have that compared to a crew where it's more, where it can also be more like, whatever, you know, like we just, you know what I mean?
No doubt. No doubt. And
So,
and
yeah.
me, I fall on the like breaking as a sport side of the fence. If I had to say, I do believe it's a culture. I do believe it's Black culture that's now shared by everybody. But I have always thought that there's at some point there's going to be a splitting, just like the same thing that happened with skateboarding. There's a split. There's the skateboarders that didn't want it to leave the streets, and then there's the skateboarders that are on ESPN. And you know, because you know, back in the day when we were doing the NBL, and I never knew you were in the NBL, like that you participated in that. I was going through some old videos, and I was like,
You're only working on one speaker right now, so make it happen. For the mock, what you got? Let's go. Give us some energy, y'all. Yeah. John's that joint too.
there goes that girl Macca.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, I didn't even know she was in this. But so, you know, even way back then, we were looking at it as a sport. And the reason I asked that question about, you know, your crew versus your team is because we would have those conversations. We would be like, you know, at some point, if we keep doing this, your whole crew's not going to be able to be on a team.
Yeah.
You know, when a monster comes in, they're not going to say we need the whole 360 flavor. They're going to like, we need Macca. We'll take a little bit of Hannibal, and the rest of you guys, you know, keep training, you know, not to be, you know, not to diss any of them, but just saying, you know, so, I always wondered that, like when that point came, if there was going to be a smooth transition from the guys I grew up with to an all-star team, but that's cool. That's cool to hear. Now, I do have one knock against Monster, and I would not be a journalist if I didn't say it.
So my first thoughts are, sadly, of course, that, well, my first thoughts are, damn, you know, just, you know, just to be honest, right? Damn,
Right.
you know, like in terms of him, but in terms of the breaking community, period, my first thoughts are
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing down in the comment section, and to make sure that you don't miss anything from the channel, smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support. Peace until the next episode.